Let's call the meeting to order. The City of Washington Common Council meeting May 24th, 2021 to order, please. Maybe have a moment's silence for the veterans and our COVID-19 victims, please. Thank you. Pledge of allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please.
Okay, Councilman Lunsford, absent. Councilman Brown,
Here.
Councilman Gress.
Here.
Councilman Campton,
Here.
Councilman Emmons,
Here.
Councilman Dahl,
Here.
Michelle Walker.
Here.
Okay. Approval of the minutes of May 10th of 2021 regular meeting in front of you. Any corrections or any questions?
I move we approve those as written.
I'll second that.
Councilman Dahl makes a motion to approve the minutes and Councilman Campton seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, in front of you, you got the claims tonight, presentation of the claims. Any questions or concerns about the claims?
We did get some at the last minute, so.
Yeah.
I didn't think so.
Yeah. Yeah. Board of Councilman Gress makes a motion to send them to the Board of Works for approval.
I'll second that.
Councilman Emmons seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Comments by the members of the public, other than what's on the agenda tonight? Yes.
Jerry Sidebottom with Victory Community Church. We're going to have a Heaven's Kitchen open back up tomorrow. So I just wanted to come let you guys know that if they get it on the radio or the newspaper or whatever, we're going to be serving from 5 to 6, social distancing and all that. But we are opening Heaven's Kitchen back up starting tomorrow. Okay?
Hey Jerry, before you sit down, just so I can tell my customers, where exactly is that carnival at?
The carnival.
Well, it says it's proceeds go to Heaven's Kitchen, 900 National Highway.
That's at the Rena Center. It's gonna be at the old Hanks, in that parking lot there at the old Hanks.
Okay, but everybody
I haven't-
asked, and I.
It's not it. I don't have nothing.
Well, but it said, well, you said Heaven's Kitchen. And
I didn't know nothing about it.
Yeah, the Rena Center's putting that on. They're donating the money to
When they doing that?
June
I haven't heard nothing about it.
June 5th. 'Cause,
Okay.
yeah,
I haven't heard nothing about it.
they're supposed to have all kinds of stuff out there.
Really nice.
Supposed to have
Carnival
bounce houses, but not mine.
That's news to me.
And having food trucks.
Yep.
Okay, well, that's good. I always said I'd be last to know, but, yeah, that's good. But yeah, June 5th, okay? Yeah, oh, definitely, I already am. Already am. June 5th, very good. All right. Anything else from the public, that's not on the agenda tonight? Okay, seeing none, hearing none, we'll move on. We got approval of a letter from the DCEDC requesting COVID small business relief grant funds be awarded to 4 businesses that have met the criteria and request a letter from the city to Okra for draw number 4 for the same fund. That's what we was a little was going to have them last time, but we had to correct a couple things. So they're in front of you tonight for your approval.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, Councilman Campton makes a motion to approve these 4 businesses.
Second.
Okay, Councilman Shore makes a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Tonight we have representatives from Team Up to Clean Up, Washington Garden Club, to request support from the council for their program. Whoever wants to be the spokesperson.
I guess I could. I don't know why I got Barb Fife-Rich, Team Up to Clean Up, also known as Can Man many times. We're in our sixth year. Obviously 2020, everything kind of came to a grinding halt, although I think there were a couple of teams, I think GPC picked up a couple times. I think the Sciotes ladies who have been with us since day one, I think they picked up. Now that a year's gone by, I think we're kind of slow in getting things back up and running. And again, you know, picking up trash is kind of a hard thing to do.
Hard sell.
Our committee is basically 3 people. It started off 6 years ago with lots of people and lots of enthusiasm, although we still have like 13 teams. 11 returning teams and 2 possibly new teams. But we're kind of at the point where, you know, we need some new ideas, some new energy, maybe some different people on the committee. I mean, it was kind of started off between the city and the garden club, and unfortunately it was remained with the city and the garden club. We've done some good things. We did two years where we did presentations in the school from like kindergarten up through grade 6. We had a video made. Dwayne Shake had like the kids make well, for the adults, we thought it was a weird video, but it was like a rap video, and the little kids loved it. We had the sheriff's department deputize the kids as litter officers. It was really effective. We did all the parades. You know, the kids kind of got into it. Now we're kind of like, we need some new energy. Enforcement. I mean, believe me, I know y'all got better things to do than write a ticket for littering, but I think somebody looked it up and there's been like 1 ticket written in the last 4 or 5 years. Until folks realize there's no consequence.
It's
just looking that
unfortunate, yeah, it's
stuff
very
out.
unfortunate,
And again, I mean, I know the possibility that just as you're driving by,
yeah.
somebody throws something out their car window. But if we could get just a couple of tickets and that word spreads, you know, one buddy tells another buddy, like, damn, I just got fined, you know, whatever it is for littering. Again, we need like, you know, some increased publicity, emphasis from the council, from the city, from civic groups, from businesses. We need some creative ideas. You know, having a team, typically you adopt an area, we give you an area, you adopt it for 6 pickups from May through October. We can work with an organization, maybe they can only do 1 a year. You know, maybe some group needs a civic or community project. It's like we can think of ways, you know, do that. If business would adopt their own campuses, if people would walk their own neighborhood. So we're just kind of asking for some help, some ideas. You know, like, I'll give a plug to Randy, because like when he was running for council, he had a family team, and even though he's been elected, his family still picks up, what, State Street, 15th to 21st, around that area. So it's like, it's not that hard to do. I mean,
No.
honestly,
No, it's not.
Garden Club had 4 people, and we have from Masons to the roundabout. And you just stick 2 people in the middle, you stick 1 at Masons, you stick 1 at the roundabout, and everybody walks toward each other and turns around. We're done in 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's about 45, 50 minutes.
It's not that bad,
Yeah.
but it's just a hard sell.
Yeah, it is.
It's a hard sell.
I brung
and-
it up at my department head meeting the other day, you know, just try to get the word out there. It is tough.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
currently running a radio ad, you know, pick up your own area, keep your trash area picked up where you place your trash. You know, because a lot of people don't do that, and I know right now I have a raccoon in my neighborhood living, and I'm not really happy with it there, but he likes the trash cans a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I've been, you know, back in the fire department days, I mean, I went Saturday with the city team, and we have usually 4, and 4 is a good number. The way we do ours is go, you know, 2 one way and 2 the other way, and then.
Meet in the middle, turn around.
But it's amazing, 2 of us, me and Brent Powden, went to Mason's and back to Wendy's. We had a half a bag apiece, so we put it together with about a full trash bag. I mean, a big black trash bag. So it's unfortunate that we have that much littering going on. But
Well, I went down 3rd Street and ended up at the railroad track and got stuck there because there was so much, so I filled my whole bag.
now we do have Truex, or True Scripts going out. Their group's been going out on their own.
We did not know
Well,
that.
we will call them and take credit.
Yeah, they've been going out on their own. I think they go out. It's either once every 2 weeks or once a month. They got a team, and they're going down. They're doing South Street, Mill Street, coming back towards their business. They're kind of staying in a 5 or 6 block area of their business maybe. I saw them out one time. I stopped and thanked them for being out and doing it. But I think they told Debbie, and we just didn't get the word to you guys, I guess. But
I mean, because we've got the gloves, we've got the.
yeah, Sam's
the
got
trash
everything.
bags.
Yeah, but yeah, it took us 45 or 50 minutes Saturday, and we was done. But it does make a difference. It really does. It helps.
Well, honestly, with COVID, with people staying home, it wasn't as trashy as I thought. And of course, most years we kind of begin the season when German American would have their
Yes.
kickoff, and that would kind of be in
Okay.
April, and then the groups would take
Yeah,
over in May.
yeah.
And
Now,
we-
Burkhart Insurance still wants to do that. German American said they wasn't gonna do it this year, but Burkhart Insurance, they're out of Vincennes, but they have, people that live here, they wanna do that over here. I got the information on my desk I need to get to you. They'll do it. They did, no given time, but they would do that. They'd love to do it and pay, just like German American did, pay so much a bag for any organization that wants to collect. They just have to give that money to a nonprofit, when they collect it. They choose the nonprofit of their own, and they give that money to them. So they're willing to do that. Miles, yeah.
Others are looking for some.
But they're wanting to do that for the community, and I talked to Sam briefly about it, but yeah, we need to kind of see if German American cares. I mean, they don't want to do it, so I'm not sure why they matter, but I'll call German American, talk to Dave Stowers and see if they mind. They don't want to step on any toes, but they would love to do that. Yeah, we'll take any help we can get, and any ideas we can get.
Thank you.
We encourage everyone just to take care of your yard
Yeah.
area or business.
Or street, yeah. Okay, yeah, like I said, we'll try to get that out there. Maybe I got here in about a week, I go on Take 5, and maybe I'll throw a plug out too to see if, any chance I get. Okay, very good. All right, thank you. I appreciate what you guys did. I know I was doing it back when I was with the fire department. You guys been doing it for, like, say, 6 years. It does make a difference, though. Okay. We have no resolutions, and we have one ordinance for tonight. The final reading of ordinance number 8-2021.
I'll make a motion to read that by title only.
Councilman Campton makes a motion to read by title only. Do I have a,
I'll second that.
okay, Councilman Dahl makes a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Tim?
Ordinance number 8-2021, an ordinance regulating noise in the city of Washington.
Okay, we've had a lot of input, a lot of talk about this last 2 weeks. We've had Councilman Lunsford, he sent his request out to everybody, what he'd like to see, and, he couldn't be here tonight to talk about it, but, he'd like to see a 70-75 decibel reading across, and same for residential and commercial. And, he'd like to see it at the side point of the complaint. That's been a little controversy about where you do it from.
At the point that sound goes across the property line is where they would be in violation. And if it's based on a complaint, then can a police officer cite somebody if you didn't get a complaint? I think I'd rather leave it on the property line so that the
Yeah.
officer would have to.
So, Chief Devine, remind us again, we've seen and we've heard from you, your thoughts on this.
My thoughts, if you were gonna go with point of complaint, I was thinking, 55. If you go property lines, I'd like to see it up to at least 65. And the reason I go with 65 is 60 to 65 is a normal conversation. I would, as a homeowner myself, I would love to sit on my back patio, be able to have a conversation any time of day. My personal opinion, to get up to 75 to 80, personally, I think that'd be too loud. That's, let's see, 80's a vacuum cleaner according to your chart. 70's a car. Just, me, if I was in my house, I wouldn't want a vacuum cleaner and run out my property line all night long. That's my personal opinion on it. And I go back and forth on this, how I feel about making it at point of complaint versus property line. I mean, should somebody have to invite us in their house to be able to take a reading? I don't know how I feel on that, to be honest with you. It'd be a lot easier if it's that property line, personal opinion, but if you go that route, I think it should be higher.
No, I know, like I said, speak for myself, but I would be, I'd like 60, but I would be okay with 65. I mean, I would vote yes on that. The other problem, not a problem, but something else I've seen, was the penalties. Personally, I'd like to see those penalties after the third time be jumped up, skip that fourth. I know it's nitpicking, but, I mean, if you've had a complaint 3 times and you've done it, they're obviously not getting the point, so,
Is there a statutory limit as to what the maximum penalty could be?
For an ordinance?
Yeah.
Oh, it can be all the way up to 10,000.
Is that right? I don't want to do that.
yeah, but, I just think,
Yeah.
I agree. I think it needs to be property line because
Well, I agree, property
I don't
line.
think there has to be a complaint for the police officers to act on something. I think they should be able to act on their own.
and so what would your decibels be?
I mean, I'm 65 to 70. I mean, normal conversation background music is 60, and then office noise and inside a car at 60 miles an hour is 70. So, I mean, at the property line, if you're saying that's going to be, let's say 70, I mean, inside a house
It's going to be less.
is going to be a lot less, so it's probably in the mid-50s or something like that, my guess. Depends on how your insulation is.
Again, yeah, do you really want a mid 50?
Well, that's less than a conversation, so I mean, I think that,
Yeah.
so I mean, I'm more towards, we're the government up here sitting here to everybody else, and I would rather be less restrictive on someone's property, but also protecting someone's property, so you're kind of on that line, and then always get tighter if it needs to be.
I say, I think it's easier to loosen it
Yeah, I think it's
than it
easier
is
to
to get
tighten.
tighter.
Yeah, I think it'd be easier
Once
to
we-
loosen and tighten.
Once we set it, I think it would, if we have complications, it's gonna be much more.
Yeah, I'd rather,
Controversial.
I'd rather
There
start,
you go.
I'd rather start less restrictive and then get more restrictive, just because it's property, or someone's property you're talking about.
I have a question, if that's okay. So if you do property line,
Stay.
if we're talking property line and you go with property line, right there at that property line are 2 outside big AC units. So you set a decibel, most of it's gonna be eat up by that, so we lose right off the bat. So we run no air all night and run people out because they're too high. I think point of complaint, just like all of our other surrounding counties, I mean, I don't understand the difficulty in that. Because, just for instance, the band that was brought here that had been planned since January, that comes down from Chicago, we had a complaint. That's been our first complaint in I don't know how long. We started out every weekend. We went to actually 0 for a long time. We had one. I shut them down. Me doing what I can to help out still. We shut them down at 1:30. They were supposed to play to 2, I shut them down at 1:30. They were getting readings outside of 74. They went inside Alvin's house, it was 54. And that's with the ACs running. So we lose right off the bat. I mean, if you're talking 60, 65, we'll never have anything.
Of course, the ordinance is written for any source of sound, so the air conditioning units would be a source of sound. And so we would not turn them off to do a sound reading.
And if you try to do a sound reading with the AC on, I've got it with me tonight. I've been recording as we're doing, we're 55, 60 in here talking. This is one of the top 10. This was from the actual vinyl soundproofing that they sent. You go out there in the AC unit, it's gonna run 75, 80 on its own. With those big units. So We basically get tickets every time they get called down there. So I don't know how we work on that. But I have to have.
Is it cold for the
85, 90
AC?
degrees.
Is it cold because your AC's too loud or because he's hearing the music?
Well, in his house, I mean, and I'm here to help, and I know you guys are doing a great job. And I think that I've done more than enough trying to help. But in his house, you can still hear that AC running. He's 22 feet from my west wall. So basically that property line, about another 5 to 10 feet from that west wall is the big AC units. You hear it in there. I've been in there with the officers. Up until, well, still yet, I mean, there's not been anything unjust. I mean, no officers wanted to cite me or anything because it's just unjust. They're saying it's not that bad. So, I mean, we've never been, I think the highest reading inside Alvin's house has been 60, don't quote me on this, has been 62 to 63. That was a band night, and that was by Officer Clayton off of his phone. Which, these things in the phones are kind of basically on point with each other. I mean, we've even lost a guy, the main guy that would come in here and throw all the fits, he's not been here. He's not called, he's not complained, we've not had one complaint off him. And I agree with you. It's going to be impossible, and I mean impossible, to stop the noise, period, 22 feet for Alvin. But I do everything that I possibly can. But I do know one problem that maybe somebody needs to reach out and tell me, is that it is a bar. It's not a family restaurant. He was just talking to me yesterday because they don't speak they speak broken English. So I called out the general rental for them to get them a bunch of tables and chairs for their daughter's graduation. So we're still friends. We talk all the time. He thinks it's a family restaurant. It's not. He's going off what the hydrant used to be. Once we made this smoking, it eliminated anybody that wasn't the age of 21, so there's no young folks. So it's a bar. We have entertainment. I know I'm in a residential area, so I know you'll shoot this idea down, but like I've said all along, it's 2 nights out of a 7-week period. And it's more than likely, I mean, most of the time it's just a Saturday. I've tried to push back the times. I know you guys were on times, and I'm trying to help. For now on, if I do have a band and I've spaced them way out, we're going to start them at 9:30 and try to be done by 12:30. So I'm doing everything I can, but if you do this from the property line with my AC units, I have no chance. I'm done. It's over. You go down there and take a reading right now with the AC going, you're going to get 75 to 80. So, and it grounds a lot out. That really helps. It grounds it all out. He's hearing that. I'm not going to say that he doesn't hear the bass, because I'm sure he does a little. But it's not that overbearing. But I know they have to show face and they have to do their job. So if they complain, that's part of the nuisance that the ordinance is right now. We go to a decibel. If I'm under it, I don't know. Earplugs in, go to sleep.
I would like to say his AC does run in the 70s. I was down there one night doing a reading on the music. I was getting low 60s, AC kicked on, it jumped up to 70s, so I quit because it covered it up. So if the AC is in the ordinance, I would suggest you make it exempt or raising it to 70 even, because I mean, the ACs are effective.
And then 2 things, I just want to say, whatever we do, I want to don't make it too complicated for the officers that's getting called to the scene. I don't want them to have to think about all these, commercial, residential. I really think we just need to make it as best we can for them. And the other thing, this is a noise ordinance for the city. And we got to remind, we're just not making a noise ordinance for 1400 West Walnut. We're making an ordinance for the city. So whatever we put in this ordinance is city-wide. It's a city ordinance. So, but, keep that in mind. I know you do. I know you guys got that in mind, but I just want to make, we can't have just an ordinance for down there.
And shouldn't make one for this down there.
So it's a citywide ordinance we got to put in place.
So on the way the test is being conducted under 2, I'm just trying to understand the meaning of this. Is measurement for purpose of table 1 and 2 below, to the extent practical, be taken without noise sources on such residence. For example, home appliance is turned off. So I'm trying to, how is that worded? Is that saying that you need all the stuff turned on when you're doing that, or is that take that air conditioner out of it?
Well, I think that has to do with complaints.
So at the complainant's house, everything's turned off.
Yeah. Right. You wouldn't want somebody to be in non-compliance because the complainant turned something noisy on in his house.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And you have to take in consideration when you're in there doing it, if it was point of complaint, you might have a TV or his AC or his refrigerator might be running, and them talking is going to up that too, so.
And that's what that does. That takes that out of the equation
Gotcha.
in here.
Okay.
That's why I was trying to clear that one up.
There's another reason for
Property line.
So,
Is there a time frame on it?
Not in the proposed current one.
Because if I wanna mow my
And-
grass at 8 o'clock
There
at
is
night,
there is for lawnmowers.
lawnmowers are done, and yard cleaning are dusk to dawn, you're allowed to do that.
that's wrong, okay.
Dawn to dusk.
yeah.
There are a few exceptions to the decibel
And then we
thing.
proposed some other exceptions for use of hand tools, things of that nature,
See,
with
and
the same
how-
sort of time frame.
if they do by the property line, and I'm not trying to be, I'm just trying to throw every scenario out there, I'm not trying to be difficult. They come down and they shoot that, what if a loud truck comes by? What if, you know, they're locking a car down there at Eagle Rail? You know what I mean? And they
I
think it's
think-
way up, then they come
Well,
in and
that-
say, here's
Here's
your reason.
I think there's, you know,
Common sense.
I
yeah,
understand.
yeah, you gotta use a lot of that. You gotta eliminate a lot of that right off the bat.
And Joe, I know you probably haven't seen this, but it actually addresses what you're kind of saying. It says that the investigator shall, to the extent, identify all sources contributing sound at the point of measurement. So they have to take that in consideration of all of the,
So I guess my question is, how do you justify that if the AC is running when you come down there for a complaint, if you do property line? How do you take that out, you guess?
I'm not against exempting an air conditioner, but I mean,
Go to the.
I would say you probably come to my
building.
house, my air conditioner's probably louder than that.
Yeah, I mean, when you have people in there, you get hot when there's, you know, a crowd, and I have to have.
Well, they say property line, but they don't say what end. You know, I mean, there's more than one part of the property line. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
Step, what, use common sense and step away from that.
there's a front part of the property line, there's a back part of the property line, there's,
Yeah, so
I
I
mean-
mean, if you do the property line on the street side, opposite of the air conditioners, because it doesn't
yeah.
say it has to be the
Yeah,
property
it
line.
just, it don't say,
And I see the way this is going. We have complaints on band nights. And I'm going to try to fade those out or schedule those 3 to 6 months in it, you know, out. Because I think we've toned it down so much, even with buying a whole new system. And I think that Divine would agree, and you guys probably, Kenny, with complaints and stuff, we've not had much. We've not had pretty much any at all.
I'll agree, I mean, on your night shift DJs, it's went down to nothing. It's live entertainment.
Yep.
I mean,
And-
coming up this weekend, I was dreading because I knew we were gonna have issues.
Yeah, and
It's live entertainment.
unfortunately, that was said in January, so there was no way of working around that. I mean, for what they charged me $2,000 to be there, so I had to do something.
I think we got it pretty well, I mean, everything we can covered except for two things. We got two questions, you know, got the decimal reading, and we got the either point of contact or property line.
So let me ask you this,
I
I
mean-
am uneducated on this. His air conditioners run at 70, okay? His band is running at 60. That doesn't add, does it? 70 would still be the tops you would get.
Yes,
Is
it's.
that,
You
am
go
I
to the
wrong
other
or am I
end.
right?
It'll pick up the highest noise at that time.
But they're going there because that's
I
where
was
the
just telling
complaint
Joe a
is.
second ago.
Yeah,
you know, the
his
air
house
conditioners
has got a
run at
front and a
pretty
rear.
Consistent level, once it spins up, it
I
starts
mean-
going, it should be at a consistent level. If you see us jumping, you know, 5 or 6
Yeah,
decibels,
you'll never get away from
that's
some of
probably the
those.
music, you know.
Music, so it would cover, what I'm saying is you don't add. 70 and 60 is not gonna be 130 decibels.
It's a
No,
log,
no,
it's a
no.
log.
No, 9 times out of 10, like, when he's talking about the DJ stuff, when the AC unit's on, it's grounding everything out, you don't hear nothing. I'm sure he hears the AC units running, they're big AC units, and there's two of them. One at the south side, one at the north, I mean, it's two AC units going, and they're pretty loud, probably in the 70s.
But again, you've never had a complaint on the AC. So I'm
No,
sure-
no, no,
I've
no,
got
no,
two
not
of
on the
them,
AC
You know,
side.
so I'm sure, you know.
I'm sure he was hearing the kick drum from
Yeah.
from the drums and
Yeah.
stuff, and they was, because I walked out there when
Yeah,
the
his
officers
walls were rattling,
Yeah.
you know, you put your hand on the wall and they were rattling. So, again, we talked about that before, it is, a lot of it's the bass is what.
It is.
Is what they are complaining.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of research I've done, for every 10 decibels that goes up, it actually doubles the volume. For every 10 decibels, it's a double of the previous volume.
So Chief, did they take an outside decibel reading that, when they had to complain of the 54 inside his house on Saturday night?
It wasn't on the complaint, the officer got with me.
It'd have been nice to know that.
He's gonna, yeah, Stanley showed me outside on the property line was 74. When they went in, Jimmy went in, and it was 54. So, just going inside from the point of complaint, it goes down tremendously. You could come down and see it for yourself. I mean, it really doesn't, that's when the band going. And some songs are louder than others. And that's why, a lot of people like live music, but, once again, I'm trying to work the city, I'm trying to work with everybody, I don't.
So the way Tim's got this written right now, do we go with this? Do we table it with a couple of changes or whatever we want?
Why don't we give him some guidance? Like he's got a section on definitions. I'd recommend we add some definitions. Are those, is that kind of in line with what everybody wants him to do?
Well, what do you mean by definition?
I added a
The
definition
the
for.
A-
Oh, what you added?
Yeah, what you
Okay,
added.
I got you, yes.
And
A
I guess
versus-
that's my other question, yeah, is everyone in favor of those?
Definitions.
Anybody need any additional definitions in there?
Right. Anybody know of anything else that needs to be added there?
If not, then the next one is the section on applicability, and that's where we talk about a list of exemptions, things that are exempted from the sound ordinance.
So if we would need to add, air conditioning.
Yeah, I
I mean,
added
that's,
hand tools for like 7 to 7.
I was gonna say, well, yeah.
And any party or gathering giving rise to noise that is plainly audible between 7 and 10 would be exempt from the ordinance. That takes care of birthday parties and block parties and things of that nature. And I just picked 7 to 10 just because that was the time I saw somewhere else. We would need to add air conditioning units, but I think if we did that, we want to make sure that we had the provision that they were in good condition. Because we have an air handler unit on an industrial site.
You got a bearing out, it could be pretty loud, couldn't it? Yeah.
Are sporting events exempt on there? I don't have a copy of that.
Pardon me, what?
Are sporting events exempt on there?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Sporting events are accepted, the way Tim had it written, festivals, parades have been approved by the school or the city are exempted. Church bells are exempted.
And the way he did write that up, it's not gonna be hard for us to add.
Yeah.
When something does come up,
We need to add other exceptions, we can do that.
Okay,
That's,
all right.
that's what we're thinking.
because there are gonna be things where,
No, absolutely.
Yeah, we're not
Can't take
gonna,
everything up there.
we're not gonna get it perfect.
Exceptions are okay with the addition of air conditioning,
Good working order of air conditioning.
or air conditioning or air handling unit, should be
Yeah.
disclosed.
And would this work out and help you guys if like I did schedule a band? I mean, am I allowed, like what you guys do on festivals or something, go in front of the Board of Works if they approve me for one night or something, or is that not an issue? I was just trying to help out, you know what I mean, for one night.
Would not be a bad idea.
So what are you gonna do if they don't approve it?
Then I guess it falls back to whatever the ordinance gets set.
It's,
Is there a time frame on this, whether we're calling quiet hours, is that what you're saying?
Each exemption has a time frame that, during which they were exempted from the noise ordinance, which meant that the other time is the quiet time, which is applicable to the 70 or 80 or whatever decibels, et cetera. So basically, during the day, using hand tools, you could be over that. Using construction equipment, you would be over that, but you'd be exempted from it during those certain time periods. An air hammer or whatever, air drill.
Okay.
So, one thing we'll table it, let Tim read over David's things and come back with
We probably ought to give him some idea of what decibel.
Yeah, you got,
We need to get a consensus on this.
Yeah.
I got a proposal too on that, is I don't want the police officer to be a zoning professional either, because typically, you know, you think of a business being a commercial zoning, but that's not the case in every
case.
there are businesses that are in a residential zoning that may have a conditional use or something like that. And I don't expect the police officer to have to go back to zonings and
Yeah.
figure that, so I don't think there should be a difference between a residential and commercial. Industrial, you can
Industrial's
obviously,
different. I agree.
you can
with
pretty
that.
much
I agree with that.
see that that's an industrial area, hopefully.
And again, if we do have problems, if something comes up, but I agree with that one.
So you would have him make table 1 be residential and commercial.
Yeah, and then
Table
just,
2 be industrial.
yeah.
And are we talking 70 decibels, 75 decibels for residential?
Well,
Again, I want 65, and I'll be hard pressed to do 70. I will not vote for 75. Because
No,
again,
75, no.
if they're saying, and I'm not saying anything against
No,
you.
you're fine.
But you're talking about, well, it's only 54 in his house. I don't want somebody's conversation in my house.
Exactly.
You
yeah,
know?
and there again goes back, yeah, this citywide,
I
yeah.
agree.
Well, but anybody wouldn't want to.
My
No,
recommendation,
but we gotta make sure we remember, you know, and, you know,
what I was going to throw out there is that, you know, I agree, and I want to work with everybody, but, I wanted just a little bit of leeway, because based on a song or something like that, if, you know, we could go around 70, I don't think I'll ever meet it. I mean, we've been in the 60s before, so it's right there, but I would say 70, not 75 also.
what's he got down for industrial?
Well, he's got
70 would
Yeah.
work.
on 80
That's
and
what I'm
60.
I didn't, yeah, yeah.
But if an air conditioner, any body does, the one here, if it's putting out. I don't
But we're
know,
taking that out of the equation,
We're taking out the equation,
and it doesn't add the sound, is what, that was the question I asked.
I know, we're taking it out of the equation, but the sound is already there, and we're doing it for the whole city. You know,
I think you-
so if my neighbor says that my air conditioner's too loud, then
Doesn't matter, because
We're exempting air.
We're exempting it now.
As long as you keep maintaining.
As long as you get the bearing fixed at a
that's what we
reasonable
were talking about,
time.
exempting the air conditioner. Because I've got 2 of them that run at my business.
Start up.
My property line, I'm probably safe, but if I had property line like Joe's, I would not be,
No.
you know, so.
So we're
Literally
in,
right there, the AC units are basically right on his wall. Maybe
So-
2 giant steps and you're
So
in
we'll-
his.
so we would be adding a 17th exception, being properly functioning air conditioning.
Correct.
Yes, correct.
Air conditioners and air handlers.
And what?
Air handlers.
Okay.
We knew it wasn't gonna be easy.
Nope, nope, we
So
do,
you're at
nope.
65, would you go 70?
I would, that's what I said, but that would
Do we
be,
all
I
agree
will not
70?
go 75.
At the property line, I'm good at 70.
I'm
That-
good, so.
That's the line, that's kind of the number I thought from the get-go, but,
Especially since we're considering commercial in with the residential
together, yeah,
together.
yeah.
So could you explain that to me? I'm kinda confused. So if you do agree with 70,
70.
explain to me how the air conditioner filters in. if
The air
it's-
conditioner's
Exempt.
exempt.
If it's the air conditioner sound that kicks it up to 70, then, or
So the
beyond
AC
70,
I
it's
gotta
not
turn the AC
violation.
off.
Or they can just go on the other side, they can just go on the other side of the building.
No, there's,
Any noise above that.
you got your south property line, you got your north property line
They
of
can
the
go on the other side of
building.
the building.
Yeah, the other end.
Or if it's close, you could click it off.
On your case, if it's on the south side, they can go to the north end and take it.
So you're
Get
saying,
a-
okay, so I get you.
get away
You're
from
saying-
them.
You're saying 70 at the property line.
Yeah.
Yes.
If your AC was 71, if your sound meter was 75, they know it's over, your air conditioner is 70. So it'd be above. It's not adding to, it's just saying you were in violation at that point.
I think from the property line, we're already doing at 70. Point of complaint, we're good. 70, we're doomed.
But you're not, you mean the sound of your music, or you're talking about your air conditioners again?
Well, I'm talking about my music.
I thought you said you're in the 60s.
Well, I'm in the 60s inside his house.
Oh, yeah, no.
I wouldn't want my house.
I wouldn't want that in my house.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, I mean, at the property line, I don't think I'd go any higher.
Whose
70 or
property
80.
line is it about, the complainant or the person doing the noise?
It's from the,
It will not matter on this.
Whoever's generating the noise.
it's who's generating noise.
Yeah,
But his property line.
right. Any part of his you know.
Or, yeah. Anybody.
Well,
My question is, and once again, I'm not being an ass or nothing, but ever surrounding county and city is from point of complaint, why are we doing property lines?
Okay, so, well, because we don't have to follow every other city.
I understand.
In Evansville, everybody throws that out. They're a louder city than us. They have a lot more traffic than us, so they're louder, just normal.
and there's another thing. I'm glad he brought that up, because that, I never even thought about that. If I have 2 acres of property, and you can't take my readings on the farthest 2 acres.
Well, actually, if you read this is actually taking at or within the real property line of any affected person. So it's not the person making
So
the noise.
if I was making a noise, you'd be next to me.
Okay.
It'd be at that property line. still
According to this,
Randy's.
we're gonna take that at the real property line of the affected person.
Okay.
The way this is written.
Again, what if, I'm just putting this out there, so it's something we got covered. What if we both own 2 acres of property line? And they can say, well, we'll take it down here at the farthest, even though it's the complaint. So how are we gonna figure that?
Let's-
Do you understand what I'm saying?
If we do it at the point of contact though, just remember, let's say we have this same problem down that Dan Cape. And you're gonna go inside, where are you gonna go inside at next door, because the places are closed? You
Yeah,
know,
that's why I say you
I
can't.
mean, this is a city ordinance, and if we do that, anywhere else, let's say, you can't, there's nowhere to go inside, take
No,
it.
I'm great with
Yeah, I know, I'm just saying,
Yeah,
just
I'm
talking in
great with
conversation.
Point of complaint.
So, yeah. I mean, how you couldn't do it, you couldn't do it downtown,
No, you'd have to do it in.
proper,
Well, if there was a person that had a complaint, you'd do it wherever they were calling from, but
yeah,
The property line is the wall.
let's
But
say,
that would have to be the closest point.
That they can get to get the reading.
do you have to have a complaint? Like say if an officer is
I-
going down Main Street?
I don't,
And the
I don't
music,
think you want it to have a complaint. I think you want it to be able to have the officer have discretion.
if
to
an
do it.
officer is going down Main Street in his car and then, let's say the thing was blasted.
Yeah.
Does he have a right,
I guess he's the complainant.
does he have a right to do something about it?
Yes.
I would think so.
Yeah, so I don't want to restrict it to a complaint.
I mean, just saying. I mean, it could happen.
I mean, that's why we have them out there on patrol.
I mean, it could happen. And most
those-
time there is a resident around somewhere, in most cases, but you got Main Street, you got downtown area. I don't know. I'm
Do
just,
you have enough guidance to draft the revision?
I think so. I do have a couple other questions. I mean, is everybody, the language with regard to the weighted sound levels in the A and the C, everybody wants that language included, is that correct?
Yes. Or I do, I can't speak for.
I guess I'm referring to 4A, the investigator shall first measure sound using the A weighting function. When the investigator believes the sound tends to be heavy and low frequencies, a C weighted measurement shall also be recorded. The higher of the readings shall then be used.
But I think you have to, because a lot of times, again, you don't even ever hear the music, but you hear that bass, and so I think you have to go with, again, that's just my personal.
Go with the higher one, that would be the C, and it jumps up quite a bit. They're both on here, A and C. A, right now, we're at like 55, 60. You hit C, it jumps up to almost 70. I mean, so I And I don't know the difference on that, so I couldn't tell you anything about that. But the last thing that I would say, and I'll be done, is if you guys do that from the property line, I'd like to see, maybe somebody come down there on a DJ night or something, since we've kind of figured out the band part of it, and actually do that before you.
Okay,
And
did we come
consider
up?
it the next meeting. I won't be here the next meeting, but I think that needs to be considered anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, give me a call, Joe, next time.
A motion from Councilman Dahl says to table this until the
Thank you.
city attorney can make some changes and present it back to us at the next meeting, and Councilman Gress seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. That's what we'll do.
Do you have a DJ before the next meeting, Joe?
What's that?
Are you having a DJ before the next meeting?
When would
Two weeks from tonight?
June 7th, or June 14th.
It'd be June 14th?
June 14th will be the next meeting.
Yes, Humphreys will be back, June 5th.
Okay.
We're doing idle this week. This is Memorial Weekend. We're not even scheduling anything.
Okay.
So June 5th, and he'll
Okay,
run from what
June
time?
5th and what, yeah, what does that?
What's your
run?
time?
Usually the DJ runs from 10 to 2.
At least maybe in our public meetings, But I'll come out with something next week and state this, but I just wanted to bring it up to everybody, and I think it's time to see if we can move forward. And if we have a change, we'll do like the state's gonna do and everybody else, they're gonna readjust. Okay. All right, anybody in the audience got anything else for this board?
Is there a time frame for this noise ordinance? Because
Yes,
I'm getting ready to
yes.
go before-
To, anything, this may have been brought up years ago, I don't know, but on White Cough Lane, our Longfellow and the school drains into that ditch, there is never not water in there. It can't be good, especially mosquito summer. Something's stopping it from draining completely. Again, I don't know what, but it's not just one person's, it is that whole ditch.
It's the fall of the land.
I don't know what.
I know
all
it is, because we've already had this
That's
discussion.
what
Let's say,
I said,
didn't they go down there and do some, and they moved it over to the other side of the road from the one side?
Well,
Yeah.
whatever they did not work.
Well, it worked on the one side of the road, but it moved it to the other side of the road.
But it's just, it's.
I'll have them look at that, and I'll see what we can,
It's a health hazard, I guess you could, but I know our park runs into it, the school runs into it, so it's not just the property owners.
yeah.
Because I take for granted, I don't even know that, I take for granted it runs that way, runs west.
I assume it does,
It
yes.
does, it goes to the catch
Well,
basin.
because of the park's so high, that's why I took it. But all I know is there's
Yeah.
water in there always,
Okay,
so.
I'll have them look at that. I'll write that down, have them look at that. Okay, anything else?
No, that's all.
All right, Randy?
First, just want to apologize for missing that one meeting.
Well, I got that corrected. I thought I had that corrected, and I didn't realize that.
I hope everybody has that correct.
I think-
Randy
I
has a
think-
new email.
yeah, I
Please
think
make
with
sure you.
him and Kenny,
I don't
I
change email neither.
Yeah.
I had to do the same thing at home,
But, and then on the team up to clean up, we started doing that as a family. So I have my kids come and help, and it's really nice, the response you get from people in the neighborhood, and they
Yeah.
thank you for being out there.
I had someone stop us Saturday morning and told us thanks, and said, if everybody would take care of their own, you wouldn't have to do that. And I said, yeah, you're right.
It's kind of a nice thing to do.
I had that happen Saturday when the guy was sitting in his car at Subway when I went by. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll try to get that word out as much as I can, because it really does help the city look good. I mean, if everybody just do a little bit. Okay, anything else? Beth, you got anything?
Just ask that people sign in or sign.
Yeah, if you would, please sign in. We kind of got away from that here lately. I've noticed in several meetings that there's not been any sign-ins. We really need to get back signing that paper to show some attendance.
Now, as far as board, I've never signed it, so.
I never have.
No, I
so.
think the board, I mean, I seen,
We take attendance.
Okay, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I just never saw.
I seen,
Just make sure he wasn't talking.
yeah, Grant, or, not Grant, Chambers signed it before coming in to do it. Some, I seen him not, but yeah, I think the council, they know you're in the minutes, and we know that, it's kind of the audience. Okay, all right.
Probably won't have a public hearing, it's more important to sign.
Yeah.
it
Yeah, it's really important then.
Yeah, and then we
Yeah.
sign that one.
Yeah. Okay, anything else? All right, seeing none, I'll call this meeting adjourned. In 4 or 5 minutes. Get that. We're going to call the Board of Public Works Safety meeting, May 24th, 2021, into order, please. In front of you, approval of the minutes of May 10th, 2021 regular meeting.
I move we approve those as written.
Okay, Councilman Dahl makes a motion to approve as written, and I'll second it. All in favor?
All right.
I'll have to abstain.
Yes, I'm opposed. And Nita sustains. The claims in front of you tonight, discussion and approval of claims.
I'll move your approved claims as soon as-
All right, Nita makes a motion to approve the claims. Councilman Dahl seconds. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Open bids received for the purchase of one 2008 Ford F-E450 public transit bus used by the City of Washington Transit System, advertised 5/4 and 5/11/2021.
We have one bid from Jens Klingenberg of Urbana, Illinois. We propose to purchase from the City of Washington the following lots: 2008 Ford E450 Zoom, Zoom X LLC proposes to buy the Ford E450 for the price of $1,825. I have a $100 check enclosed as well. $1,825.
Okay. All right. And this is the first one I've done, so if, I guess, do we vote to accept, but I guess, do we have to accept this bid?
What's the book value we're giving them?
No idea.
What were you hoping to get out of it?
Has to be under 4?
Under $4,000?
Well, that's, yeah, okay, because this is, like I say, this is my first on a bus like this.
We get into some NDOT rules that get pretty.
So do you have any input on this, or Brian?
Not really.
What do you think?
It's a little lower than I would like it to be, but it's just sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else wants it, so.
I know, I think one time, of course, I think we sold one for $1 one day, once.
Can't you sell
I'm sure
it
that
at
has
auction?
happened, yeah.
Yeah, I think, one time, I think,
So before we donated them to
That's true,
agencies
yeah.
around, nonprofit agencies around town, we've done that before
The
too.
police have got one time, didn't they?
Police have done it, we've donated it to
yeah.
Lighthouse Church, we've done it to different, Lighthouse, I think it's,
Yeah, and we threw, we out there, but we didn't have any response to anybody really that showed any interest, but
So will these people come and get it? Does it say?
I would assume, I mean,
I
doesn't say.
assume,
There's a little bit of,
I'm-
paperwork and stuff we've gotta do with NDOT before. We've gotta do city has to do a purchase agreement with them.
that you take that and there'll be
Exchange
contact
money, and
information.
There's some, stuff that we have to do, Chuck and I have to do with NDOT, and then it can be released.
Does the city keep that money, or do we have to give that over to NDOT?
It has to go into the transit fund, and it can only be used in the transit fund. So, since we're already in a budget year, and we can't spend that because we didn't budget it, it would just be in that fund to budget, used to budget for something for the following year. But it cannot be used for anything else other than
Transit,
that, because it was bought with FTA
yeah,
money.
yeah.
Okay.
Look into a transit budget, okay.
Well, I would accept that.
I'll second.
Okay, need to make a motion to accept the bid of $1,825. David, make it seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, y'all check it out, get the contact information and do whatever you got to do on all that. Okay, discussion approval of request from the Catholic Community of Washington to close Northeast First Street from First Baptist Church parking lot to Heffernan Street, Northeast Second Street from Heffernan Street to Flora, and Heffernan Street from Northeast First to Northeast Second on Saturday, June 5th to set up, and Sunday, June 6th for the event of the annual summer social. I thought maybe somebody would be here tonight.
Does it impact that area where they wanted no parking?
Well, yeah, everything I've read over all the years, and even last year stuff, there's one, the only thing I have, the Northeast First from First Baptist lot to Heffernan. That's the one I kind of have a problem with, because we had that people didn't want no parking over there, which at the social there's going to be, especially if we have the street open. But it just causes, just depends on how we do it on the corner of Heffernan and First Street, because if you don't watch it, you have people coming up from Meridian up Heffernan, you have people coming from the north going south there. You could have people coming around the corner on Walnut that gets before they realize it's closed halfway down the street. It could be a mess. Once, because if you close it at the parking lot, there's nowhere for them to go but back out on Walnut
Keep the
again.
interchange open so they can get through.
But I mean, all these years, even with as fire chief, all these years, I never had no problem with everything but that. I don't know what they're requesting, what they're planning on putting there in that little half block there. They got, they got concrete, they got asphalt there in front of the middle school there, a certain, going into that side door, that they could do something there. I mean, it's fairly wide, it's probably, I don't know, 24 foot wide probably there, and length of the building. I just think it could cause a lot of confusion unless it's really closed up right. And they want it Saturday and Sunday. It'd be one thing if it's just Sunday only for that location, but they want Saturday and Sunday way their request was. But other than that, it's the same as it's been for years, and it's really never caused a problem that I know of. The fire department's always got used to it and knew about it, and then First Street would be open, and then Third Street would be wide open. But whatever you guys think, I was hoping someone would be here to explain the usage of that First Street to the Baptist parking lot.
I'd approve doing like we've done it in the past.
And I can contact the schools, and we can, if you wish, and we can approve just like we did and leave that First Street open, because they use that lot down there on Florida Street and First. That's all fenced in, and that cars are usually going down that way anyway. And but okay, you Councilman Dahl makes a motion to approve everything but the northeast First to the First Baptist parking lot from Heffern down to there. And Nita seconds it. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, and we'll contact them and tell them that. I don't think they'll have a problem with it. We've always worked it out before. Okay, finally, discussion and approval of request by Victory Community Church, 1419 West Walnut Street, to close a half a block on Northwest 15th Street from West Walnut south to the alley on Sunday, May 30th, from noon to 6. Jerry?
Yep.
Yeah, I know we've done this.
Outreach.
We've done this for years.
Yeah. I didn't think I was gonna have to come back so soon to you guys, because I figured we'd do it when we got into our big church. But they wanted to have an outreach, so basically the same thing we do.
Yeah. I've never had any, even before I got here, I've never heard of anybody complaining. I mean, they've always know you do it, and you've had it for years.
I know we approve it.
Councilman Doe makes a motion to approve. I'll second it. All in favor? Aye. Okay, opposed? Okay. Yeah, and same way at the school, if anything we need to do for them, Brian, on them, and I can call over there and tell them that. Okay, all right, anybody in the audience got anything else for the Board of Works? Okay, Nita, you got anything? And David?
Nope.
All right, Tim?
Nope.
Okay, all right, call this meeting adjourned.